So, I'm directing a play based on the Brother Grimm's Rapunzel. And because of that, I really need the most iconic part of the Rapunzel story, the wig. So today we're making a wig, starting with this guy. If you're staring at it and thinking, dear Lord, that's a messed up wig, you would be correct. So that is the first thing we're gonna do. We're gonna start going through, combing it out, braiding it like this, and I'm gonna explain why we need to use a junkie wig, and we'll go from there. So the junkie wig is important to this project for multiple reasons. The first is because I'm about to ruin this wig for anything else but a Rapunzel wig. And ruining a nice wig is really sad, especially in a theater, because I would use that for so many different shows. So I would much rather ruin a wig I can't really use for anything else. And as you can see by how painful it is to brush out this wig and keep these dogs' noses out of it, I wouldn't use this for just about any other show if I had a choice. The next reason is because of the construction of the wig. But I now realize you really don't know anything about what I'm doing with this wig beyond Rapunzel. So let me fill you in. This play calls for a long, iconic wig that looks like you can climb it. However, it also calls for a wig that is detachable at the base of the wig, since Mother Gothel gives Rapunzel a trim. Why I'm using this wig as well is because it's synthetic, and it melts a little bit with heat. Now, for the long portion of the wig, I bought rope, 18 feet of it, and I'm gonna hot glue it in with the hope that the heat of the glue will melt the synthetic material to the rope. But anyways, that means I need to hop onto the next step. The rope. My mother was kind enough to help with the brushing of the wig while I focused on the rope. See, my plan was simple in theory. I untwined the 3 separate pieces of the rope and I brush it out, and then my rope would look like hair. Except that it just tangled together, so new plan. I pulled apart every piece, every single strand of rope I could get separated, I did. And I hoped that the individual pieces of rope would look like hair. Then, once I would free a strand of rope, I'd wrap it in tiny little sections and hang it on my cat tree. Frankly, that worked out great, but it also took a million years because this is an 18-foot rope. 18. This took like 2 million years. Oh my gosh. Which is funny because the next part also felt like it took 2 million years. So now that I've got my hair all brushed out on that original wig, and now I have a tree of yarn, I think it's time to section the wig and to lay out my pieces for the long braid. See, I took my long hair sections that I'd carefully separated, and then I combined them back together into 3 sections. I twisted and tangled and brushed them until I had like 3 sections of my rope hair. Fun tip if you're doing this, start these sections with the pieces that look most rope-like and end with the hairier looking rope pieces. It kind of buries the more rope-looking pieces and it makes more convincing hair sections. Now, once I had 3 sections, I returned to my wig.
His nominator is Casey, his daughter. Yeah. I'm gonna do the potatoes first.
Ah! I unbraided her and began to style her as best as I could. Now she's real poofy, and I know that technically I could fix this if I had the right tools, but I don't have a steamer, and I was a little scared to try and wash this wig and get some of the shine out. So, you know, I kind of just went, okay. But I did test my lowest heat flat iron to see if I could possibly flatten her a little bit, and it immediately melted the synthetic into like pure plastic that almost just took me out. Looked so bad. As such, I decided we accept the poof. We like a little 80s style. But look at that. Isn't that nice? It looks like hair again. Kind of. Now next up, let's ruin what we just did by separating the wig into 3 and gluing in the rope sections. By the way, I just did a hair sandwich for this. The wig is the bread in this analogy. So next up, I'm going to be gluing in my braid sections into the actual wig. Now I've separated my hair into 3 sections, and in each of my 3 sections, which I'll have to fix a little bit better, I'm basically sandwiching and twisting. I'll show you what that looks like, but this will be the bottom of the sandwich, my long rope strands will be the middle, and then this here up top, I'm gonna add that down over top and kind of try and twist it together so that it's pretty secure. You'll see what I'm saying. Ouch. My hand is trying to become part of this wig. Let's try and glue that in this way. Yeah. Feels pretty good. Now, braiding a wig that is over 18 feet long is a nightmare, and I want you to be aware of that. You'll want more than one person, otherwise you will cry. But look at her, just look. And I'm very pleased, except for one little thing. She's all braided. So next step is airbrushing. We just had to do some color correction. So look away because I first have to pull a Mother Gothel for a second. Then we went in and lightened that obnoxious yellow. Good lord, it needed it. Luckily, that did bring me to the very last step. Decoration. So, I did a farewell tour of Joann's, which I'm furious about, by the way. There's no good reason for it to close, and you sure aren't gonna see me return to Hobby Lobby of all places. But I went for 3 primary things. Flowers, ribbon, and some clasps. Psst, 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 psst. Tell your cat I said that. To reattach the braid with. Now, I went with a pink color scheme because my Rapunzel costume is pink, so we're making it all matchy-matchy. But the really important bit is really disguising the fact that the hair comes apart. So I wrapped the ribbon kind of like a rubber band and added so many flowers to distract from the gold clasps. Here's the thing. In theater, we've got a 5 to 10 foot rule, so if a costume piece or a prop looks good from 5 to 10 feet, then it's good. And this does indeed distract from the fact that it comes apart from 10 feet away. So now we put on a nice glaze to seal in the paint and give it a nice shine. And we're done. So thoughts on the wig. I've got both good feelings and some things I'd like to improve on. So let's talk first about the good. First, it was long and it looked impressive, especially from a distance. That is a distance wig. But I'm pretty pleased with, how it looked, the fact that it was detachable, and I enjoyed the look of it as well. I'm really happy with the design of all of the ribbons and the flowers. I think that was very fun. However, on the side where I'd like to improve, for one, with the materials, I'm not unhappy with the rope. However, I think it would have been nice to try and experiment with some more materials. Like someone on TikTok suggested bagged hair. I don't know what it's called. I'll check the comment for you guys. But it would have been nice to kind of experiment with some more materials to make it a bit more realistic. And I wish I did have a steamer and that I had more confidence to go in and wash the wig and try and get it looking not so fluffy, especially because it's a super cheap wig that I used. And so the first couple times you wear it, it's fine. But each time it each time it fluffs up a little bit more. And so the bangs on stage, they were okay. They weren't great, but they were okay. And from a distance, it's like, oh, that's cute. That's Rapunzel. But if you look at the reveal footage, it is so fluffy, and all of the bangs that I defined and worked on, they're gone. They're just gone. So yeah, I kind of wish that I'd spent more time defining this wig. As well as that, one of the things that I'd like to improve on in the future is like the painting material. It didn't work the best. So because the rope was super bright yellow and the wig was more of a platinum blonde, I had to paint the rope to make it match. And it was something. So the thing about it is, even when I sprayed it, it was just flaking off left and right. And so this wig can be used probably for a week worth of shows before you gotta repaint it again. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with it in that it did what I wanted it to do. Like, it was long, it was impressive, and it detached. What more can I ask for, right? Especially because in this show, I really had very limited time, and I wasn't just the director and the costume designer. I was also the set designer and the sound designer and the lighting designer. I had very limited time. So, sometimes we gotta accept that we're human. But next time, I hope I'm a little closer to superhuman. We'll see what I can do.